All right, and welcome back to another episode of Ted Talk Stamps. I am Ted, the Talking Stamp Collector, and I'm glad you're with me today. Today I thought I'd have a quick episode just to show you where I'm starting off on my 1935 Scott International Junior album. I've spiffied it up. I'll show you in just a second. And then also I have a new viewer top 10. Haven't seen one of those for a while. All right, first let me show you the album. That's the back cover. As you'll notice, it's got a cover on it. That is what's kind of generically called a Brodart cover. It is a library dust jacket cover. And what I did is I made a photocopy, or made a scan of the front cover of the album and printed it out on a regular sheet of printing paper. Stuck it within the Brodart cover, just like you would the dust jacket for a regular hardback book. And it came out looking like this. And looking at the inside there, you'll notice it is loose here. It slips into the end flap, so there's no tape touching the album itself. The spine is still blank. I'm going to have to come up with a nice little design to put on the spine. Now I removed all the loose stamps that were in the album. Remember, they were all lying in the margins of the pages down by the spine. So I took them all out and I soaked them, washed them, cleaned them up, pressed them, and that's what I have here. I don't know how many there are, maybe 100 or so. And then I went through and I counted all of the countries and all of the stamps that are mounted in the album right now. And none of the countries had a lot of stamps. The ones that did have the most were US with 77. Argentina had 11. Australia had 6. Austria had 39 stamps. Bavaria 16. Belgium had 56. Canada, there's 17. Czechoslovakia 20. France had 42 stamps. Germany had 90 stamps. And that's not counting the 16 from Bavaria. Great Britain, there's only 14. Hungary had 67, which isn't surprising. Hungary is a mainstay of beginners, packets, worldwide packets. Poland 25, and then Romania, another mainstay of the packet trade, had 33. Altogether, 83 countries are represented with stamps right now, with a total of 914 stamps in the book. So that will be my baseline, and as I fill her up, I will keep you updated on how many and which countries that I have. So like I said, I have a viewer top 10, and this one comes from Karen Richardson, who also sent me a couple of real neat items. First one being this card from Great Britain. It's called a PHQ card. It's essentially a maxi card. It is a postcard which reproduces the design of a stamp exactly, and then these are sold separately from the stamps. The collectors can, they're put on sale about 2 weeks before the actual stamps are issued. And then the collectors, they buy the cards, and then when the stamps are issued, they can put them on the front. Or, this is a postcard, you can also put them on the address side. And then you have a choice of either getting a first day cancel, as on here, or some collectors just wait, and they'll, if there's some event going on that pertains to the subject matter of the stamp, they'll get a special pictorial event cancel. So like I say, these are called PHQ cards, and they are numbered. This one is number 328 from 2009. There's over 500 of these available right now. In the beginning, Royal Mail just issued them for certain sets. Not every stamp got them. Nowadays, though, every issue has a PHQ card with it. And Wikipedia has a list of all the PHQ cards that were issued up to August of 2020. And I'll put a link to that down below in the description. And then the other item that Karen sent me was this really nice first day cover from 2004, depicting some early photographs of heroes of the Crimean War. And these were taken from 1856, so that is some early photography. And that is kind of a timely gift, as I just recently decided, hey, you know, photography was just my first passion from a real young age, and I've seen some really nice photography related stamp issues lately, and I said, time to start another topical collection. So this will be one of my charter members of my photography topical collection. So thank you, Karen. And like I said, Karen has a top 10 list. She likes portraits on stamps, and she sent me a list of her 10 favorite issues in that regard. The first set on Karen's list is this one from Vietnam from 1952, featuring the Empress Na Phong, who was the last Empress consort of Vietnam. And Karen writes that she was a fashionista. On her first visit to Europe, she popularized trousers and embroidered tunics for evening wear. At number 9 comes this portrait of Sir Douglas Mawson from the Australian Antarctic Territory, issued in 1961. Mawson was a geologist, explorer, and principal instigator of the Australasian Antarctic Expedition of 1911 to 1914. At number 8 is Great Britain, the 2004 Crimean War set I showed you the first day cover of. Karen says, I love early photography, and these portraits are just amazing. And I have to agree with her there. At number 7 comes this Hong Kong set from 1962, showing Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Karen says Her Majesty deserves her own top 10. I always thought these were the loveliest stamp issues I've seen of the late Queen. Next, from 1961, is this set of designs from the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo, put out by Italy. And of course, being some classic paintings, these are beautiful portraits. At number 5 comes Argentina from 1959. A couple of medical scientists, William Harvey, an English physician, and Claude Bernard, a French physiologist. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the notes badly. There's 3. The third one being Ivan Pavlov, which you've heard of, Pavlov's dogs. He was a Soviet experimental neurologist, psychologist, and physiologist. Next comes the classic issue of Marianne, engraved by Pierre de Gandon of France. These issues were, used between 1947 and 1951. And Karen says no words are needed for such a classic stamp. And then number 3 comes South Korea from 1990, showing Hong Yong-sik, who lived from 1856 to 1884. He was a diplomat and a poet in the late Joseon dynasty, a pioneer in Korea's postal and stamp system. At number 2 is this issue from Austria from 1991 depicting Paracelsus, which always to me sounds like a Marvel Comics villain name. Paracelsus lived from 1493 to 1541. Karen says, I love the woodblock look. Paracelsus' official name was Theophrastus Bombastus von Hohenheim. He was a doctor, scientist, and physician, and he's known as the father of toxicology. And at number 1 on Karen's list comes Edgar Allan Poe, a 1949 issue from the United States. Karen is a librarian and an avid reader, and she has seriously always loved Poe's short stories. That was a very nice list, and I thank Karen for submitting that. And if you have a top 10 list that you would like to see featured in a future episode, go ahead and contact me at tedtalkstamps@gmail.com. Give me your list. You can send me pictures if you like, or you can just leave it up to me to find good stamp images, nice large ones on the net. Many of you have already sent me top 10 lists in the past, and I believe I am caught up. I think I've shown them. But if you have turned in a top 10 list and you have not seen it featured yet, let me know. I'm not the most organized person, so I could very well have overlooked 1 or 2 or 3 or more. No. So anyways, let me know if you haven't seen your list, and I'll take care of it. So thanks for bearing with me and being patient during this downtime. It's been, close to a month now since the last episode. So I'll be a little more prompt with the episodes going forward. So thanks for being with me today. And until next time, happy stamping.